Hello, everyone, and welcome back here. We're going to have a discussion today that I hope you find very practical. And as always, I hope that you find that it inspires you to put these teachings into practice in your daily life. Because the heart of the matter in all spirituality is in the practical application. It is one thing to understand what this course is saying intellectually, to feel like you've got a grasp intellectually on what Jesus is saying here, on the metaphysics, on the inner workings of this course, however you want to describe that. That's one thing. It's another thing entirely to put it into practice, and that is where we really learn, through our practical application. This is where we take the ideas that we learn here in the course and we put them into practice in our daily lives. It is then that we experience them. We learn experientially, because when we put these ideas into practice, our experience then shows us that they're true. So if you want proof, perfect, prove it to yourself. That's how we do it. So the inherently practical component today is our extraordinary resistance. Oh, yeah. So let's spend some time talking about our fear of truth. Let's do that. How often do you stop in the midst of your daily life to actually think about this? Probably not often, because like all of us, I'm sure you're deluged with stuff, with things that occupy your time, that make demands on your time. It could be work, could be family, it could be your own personal health, it could be your calendar, which is insanely full. Who knows, right? Any number of different things here in the world. And it's not often that we take the time to really contemplate where we appear to find ourselves and what we can do about it. Because the answer is a lot. You can do everything about it, and you are not powerless. Even if you feel powerless right now and you want to insist that you are, that you're a victim, yeah, you're not. You're not a victim of the world you see. What world? You're not a victim. You're not powerless. So the more that we take the time to listen to a message like this from our inner teacher, it's very valuable. The more, the better. So I thank you for your dedication and commitment to practice. And I know that I say that all of the time, but that really is the highest, best offering you could give anyone, anywhere. And there is no close second to that. Not even. So I thank you for that. We're deeply resistant, when we're honest with ourselves, to the truth. If we weren't resistant to the truth, this conversation wouldn't be happening, and you wouldn't be looking at this screen, and I wouldn't be here talking. We'd all be exactly where we've always been, awake in God, and we would recognize this. We would allow it, and that's where we would be. This conversation wouldn't be necessary. So we're there right now, awake in God. We simply don't realize it. And here in the world where we've identified with a human body, with an ego, with our name, with our job title, with our email address, with our bank account, with our home, with our political affiliation, with our country of origin or our country of residence, if they're different, where we identify with all of these things, we get carried away. We think this is the Son of God, and it is not the Son of God. You are not a body. But when we think that we are, we're incredibly resistant to the truth that this is not our reality. We're taught from a very early age the values of our parents, the values of our extended family, the values of our society, wherever you live in the world. And we're taught in school that we are a human being, whatever that actually means. Homo sapiens sapiens, individual self-sustaining survival units. And then we grow up, and by that point, our societies have deeply indoctrinated us. Whether you care to think about it that way or not, we're completely indoctrinated here in the world, and we're bombarded with advertisements that glorify what? The physical body. We're bombarded by images of hot, sexy people and made to feel inferior to those hot, sexy models, many of whom are now airbrushed with our 21st century technology or are AI generated and things like that. I mean, how real is someone's Instagram page really? We're bombarded with messages that we have to look a certain way. We have to behave a certain way. We have to engage in certain forms of behavior. We call that economics. There is a deep indoctrination, and that is what it is. You can call it conditioning if that feels more comfortable to you. And that's the same thing. We're taught the values of the world, and we slip into identification with them. However, along the way, many different things have happened to you to lead you to this point where you're watching this video, where you're studying and practicing A Course in Miracles. And if you're not, and you're just checking this out, well, you sure are interested in it. What's this miracle thing? Yeah. You've begun to listen to the call of our inner teacher, which goes out to all of us 24/7, because the Holy Spirit, our inner teacher, is part of our mind. It's you, part of your mind. It's part of our mind that speaks truly, that will teach us what to do, where to go, if anywhere, what to say, in order to realize the truth of who we are, our teacher. When we identify as an ego, we're choosing not to listen to our inner teacher. But somewhere along the way, you have chosen this. This is the thought that sets all of us out on the spiritual path. Now, there are plenty of people who don't appear to be on any spiritual path right now in this lifetime, and it doesn't look like they're going to be interested in it ever. Well, they will, just maybe not in this lifetime. And there's nothing that you or I can do about that. What has happened with you is you've heard this call. It may take many forms or many different thoughts. Sometimes we're consciously aware of this, and other times we simply are not. And a thought or an intuitive hit or a feeling will simply come into our minds that there's got to be more to it than just this. There's got to be more to it than feeding this, giving this thing some water, every now and then a really nice, tasty glass of wine, maybe a nice Bordeaux if you want to step it up. Yeah, Left Bank. Poyak, maybe? Just saying, right? There's more to it than all of that. And there is, and we deep down know it. We recognize it. And that's why you're here. So we, in fact, when we're running amok here in the world, are afraid of truth. We so identify with the ego that we're afraid of the light that we are. We're afraid of God's love, which we are. We're afraid of God's will, which we are. You are the will of God. Make no mistake about that. It says it many times here in A Course in Miracles, so I'm not making it up. There's no way that I could have written this. That's for sure. We're afraid of this. So, what then do we do? Well, having heard the call and answered it, what we all want is the peace of God. So, our relationship with our inner teacher becomes one of paramount importance, because it's under the guidance of our inner teacher that we forgive. It's under the guidance of our inner teacher that we go about our business in the world, seeing it differently, very differently. Yeah, we go to work. Yeah, we go to the bathroom. We pay bills. You appear to be living what we here in the world consider to be a normal life, but you don't have to believe that any of it is real in any way, shape, or form, because it's not at all. What do? You give your entire experience over to your inner teacher and allow your inner teacher to run the show, especially when you feel afraid of waking up. This is when your relationship with your inner teacher is most important, when you need it. So we're invited to cultivate this relationship when we're not in crisis as well. Very important. Spirituality is for all times. It's not just for when we're in deep, dire need, in panic mode. In fact, the more you cultivate the relationship with your inner teacher, the less often you'll find you're in panic mode. Because things that used to bother you in the past, you may one day discover don't bother you at all, and you barely even think about them. They're nothing. And that's a very beautiful feeling. I know some of you have experienced this many times on the path, because we all do. A very powerful prayer, a very powerful idea that was the inspiration for the title for this conversation today is to ask your inner teacher. If you don't know how, ask. Ask. You don't have to go it alone. In fact, it's impossible to go it alone because you're never alone. There is only perfect oneness. So ask your inner teacher for help, for guidance in accepting truth, in allowing truth to be just as it is. Because it is, you are, God is perfect. Truth is perfect just as it is. We have only to allow it. This means dropping our ego-centered defenses, our veneer, our wall, if you will, the veil between us and truth, if you want to see it that way. And we discover that our habitual tendencies, our ego clinging, our individualistic, combative tendencies are so ingrained, our judgmental tendencies are so ingrained that we need this help. So we ask for it, and it is given instantly. Instantly. So it's a very powerful idea. and a very powerful prayer to ask for help in allowing truth to be just as it is. Help me allow truth to be just as it is. Help me to get out of my own way. Help me to drop my defenses to truth. Help me to let go of my fear of awakening. Help me to let go of this irrational fear of God. Help me to let go of fear about who I am. Help me to lift the veil. Tell me what to do here. Help me accept truth just as it is. Help me drop my manipulative thoughts. Help me drop my urge to control all life. Help me drop my control freak tendencies. And so on and so on. You get the point. Now, a couple of words about the control. What we're doing when we want to run the show ourselves without the guidance of our inner teacher is we're attempting to order, manipulate, and orchestrate all phenomena. How's that working out for you? I mean, really, we're attempting to tell God what to do and how to do it. Completely futile, right? That's something we definitely don't need to do and should most definitely set aside. We don't see ourselves necessarily as control freaks, but when we try to run the show ourselves without the guidance of our inner teacher, we're not accepting truth just as it is, and we're attempting to make something different. And truth simply is, despite all of our attempts at manipulation and judgment and blame, and all of our frantic activity here in the world, truth remains unsullied, completely unsullied and unchanged. It's changeless, it's eternal. This is not eternal, is it? It doesn't look the same from one moment to the next. One day you have baggy eyes and you wake up one decade and you have significantly less hair, right? Or you've lost weight or gained weight, or your hair is gray, or you have an ache or a pain that you didn't have when you were 23. I don't know, right? Nothing in this world lasts because there is no world. The central teaching of this course: you're not a body. So we need help to accept this for ourselves. We need help accepting what this course refers to as atonement for ourselves. Central to this is the acknowledgement, the acceptance, the acknowledgement that the separation never occurred. We're not separate from our brother, and we're not separate from God. Oneness. There is only perfect oneness, and all else is illusion. All of it. So we're invited today and every day to accept truth just as it is, and so in so doing, to appreciate it. And once again, as a practical matter, it is entirely possible to go through the world and have a career. It is. You don't have to give that up. If your inner teacher says do it, then okay. But how likely is that going to be? Right? Your inner teacher's not going to leave you destitute and on the streets just so you can follow the spiritual path. Now, we can and should continue to live what the world refers to as a normal life. And why would we want to do that? Well, there are people out there that only you can reach. You will reach these people much better and much more effectively than I will. So I'm inspiring you to reach them, to give your entire life, to give your entire experience over to your inner teacher and let your inner teacher direct you. The Holy Spirit will direct you. And you will have everything that you need. Will you have some of the things that you covet and want? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But you'll have everything that you need. So it's very important as we teach, because you're always teaching, whether you hold yourself out as a teacher, as I do, or not. We're always interacting with others. They only appear to be others. So as we go forth and interact with ourselves in 8 billion different outward forms that are really the same, the content exactly the same in truth, one with God, the Son of God, the thought of God, the extension of God, like extends like. As we go forth, let's remember that there are people out there that only we will reach. They await your sharing the love of God with them. They await your sharing the Holy Spirit with them. What form will that take? Ask your inner teacher, because not everyone is called, nor should everyone have a YouTube channel, because this is not the forum for some people. This is my own particular calling. Yours may look very differently. And that's just an outward appearance, because there are people out there that you can reach. So we get up in the morning and we take care of ourselves as best we can. This is an illusion, but if you want to go to the gym, go to the gym. I mean, it may help tremendously the people that you're supposed to reach for you to be fit. Yeah, leave it in the Holy Spirit's hands. It is important that others who think that their bodies can relate to us in a form that they understand without fear. This is a form we can understand without fear. Your physical body is a form that people can relate to without being plunged into a deep existential crisis. You can relate to them. Let the Holy Spirit use this as a communication device to extend love and forgiveness and peace to the Son of God. When you do so, you're extending love and peace and forgiveness to yourself. This is how we wake up. We give the love of God, which we have. We've received it, so let's accept it and give it. This is how it's returned to us, and the idea strengthens in our mind. So in wrapping up, let's just stress the practical importance of accepting truth just as it is. If you take nothing else from this conversation, take that. Please take that it's very powerful and very important. So ask for help in accepting truth just as it is. All right. Comments and questions are most welcome. They're most welcome here. So if you've got them, I invite you to please go ahead and leave them. The subscription arrow is right here, and that is in the corner of your screen. Go ahead and click on that. That's that arrow. I'd love to have you join us. Several of these videos appear here per week. Number one, consistency is vital on the spiritual path. And secondly, we're in the midst of chapter 9 of the text of A Course in Miracles. There are 31 chapters, so there are many conversations to come. And then when that's finished, we'll continue to have further conversations because consistency is key. This is about developing a habit, remember, of forgiving the Son of God. It's about developing a habit of connecting with your inner teacher and giving your entire experience over to your inner teacher to let him run the show, because he won't crash the car, but you might. So, along those lines, I thank you all for joining me. And please join me again here very soon. I'll see you on the next video.